Welcome to my shortwave radio channel. And well, as we are in the holiday season, today is December 26th, and between Christmas and New Year, I thought I'd make a little series this week and call it Holiday Favorites. And it has to do with radios and not music. So I'll be playing around and showing a few videos of the different radios that I kind of love using and have fun with. Of course, this is the first video with this one, which is the famous Tecsun H-501X, which is definitely one of my favorite radios out there. And just to say a few things about it that, I've seen questions and I've seen people using it. One of them, a lot of people complain that on the FM band, the audio qualities and all that it could be like, like a boombox if you want. And this has to do with a big problem that FM stations have. This is a communications receiver. Its audio quality is astonishing, but with, listening to MP3s, for example, or listening to music that is standard audio files that are of good quality. So what happens is if you pair a phone or computer to have music play through Bluetooth, if you use an SD card, put MP3s on it, the audio quality is astonishing, and that's where you'll see its audio quality. One of the problems with FM stations, they tend to actually push the audio and push it to the maximum with bass and everything. That's where, unfortunately, this radio still has great sound, but you don't get that top quality that you get when you're listening to an MP3. And for some people, that's kind of a turnoff. I've seen some people say, well, I expected this to be great on FM. It's not a boombox, and its audio amplifier and the audio system in here, the way that it's designed, is really made for playing audio files of good quality. Which in turn means that it's not necessarily that great on FM, even though I find it cool, and I find it particularly cool because it's stereo. And personally, I'm very happy even on FM. But it is absolutely true that on FM, I don't reach and I don't hear the same quality that actually I hear on playing audio files on it. So as a, a speaker to play from, audio from your phone or your tablet or your PC, it definitely is great for that. And there you'll see it shine really with its audio quality and amplifier. And, we have separate treble and bass controls, and it sounds great when you use it like that. Another question that I often hear about antennas. So where do you plug the antenna if you have an ML830 or if you have an external antenna? There's two antenna jacks on the radio, and one is FM and one is AM. For anything that is long wave, medium wave, and short wave, AM is where you're going to put your antenna. So this is an ML830. So of course my ML830 is going to plug in this jack here. FM is purely for the FM band and will only affect the FM band for radio listening. So that's something to understand about the connectors here on this receiver. The other questions that I will often have is, does the sync detection work well? It depends on the conditions. It's not that it's bad, zero bad. It's just that it's not, up to what it could be on the shortwave bands compared to some other receivers that do a better job at it. But once again, I never use sync really, even on radios that it works well. I rarely use anything like that. I'd rather use the radio and just switch to upper lower sideband directly. It depends on each how you use your radio basically. The radio is very sensitive. Does it overload is a question I get all the time. Every portable has its limit where it will eventually overload. Some are better than others. This one is particularly good at that. So it means that if you put an outdoor antenna like the MLA30, it doesn't overload very often. So I've heard it overload sometimes here. My biggest problem of the overload is WWCR, especially the 5935 frequency at night is so powerful that it is the one that will, if I have an overload happening, that'll be the one that's going to overload. But on this radio, I've rarely seen that happen. It's not totally zero. It can, but it doesn't happen very often. If it does, you just switch the DX to normal during that time, and you're still going to receive, and the overload is going to be gone. You're going to receive your broadcast that you want to listen to. Of course, external antenna is very useful. A lot of people, get this radio saying, well, I don't hear a lot. Yeah, a external antenna is a must in many, many circumstances, especially with all the noise we have around. So that's another something that you have to think about. Unfortunately, what's killing the hobby, and I'll say it again and again and again, is not the internet, it's the noise. Noise levels are too high and people aren't hearing anything. It has nothing to do with the internet. The internet is actually a very helpful solution because it has so much information about what you're hearing and all sorts of things, and including videos like this. This is really, the noise floor is what's killing the hobby. And, if the hobby dies pretty much over the next decades, it will be in big part because everything we do just creates more and more noise, and it gets to a point where, well, not hearing anything, so you're not going to do this anymore. And people are switching to the internet. I see it all the time. It's like, oh, well, people are going to go on the internet. No, they don't. If they did, a lot of stations would have stayed there, including Radio Netherlands. For the fact that a lot of stations have gone, even on the, when we talked of the World Radio Network, the World Radio Network used to have an amazing list of stations that you could listen to. The World Radio Network is so boring compared to what it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I used to listen regularly. Today, I don't listen because it's just not what I want. And the reason is, 20 years ago, all the shortwave stations were getting on board with World Radio Network. But when they shut down, they also shut down their World Radio Network feed. Unfortunately, this is a big problem. So, once again, it tells you that they have no interest in being neither on the internet when they shut down. So it's interesting to see where everything's going. But overall, great radio and amazing receiver. Amazing audio quality. Once again, mostly with good audio files or good audio coming out of, your phone, things like that. And, it's still great on FM. It's still fun to have the stereo speakers, which is something so unique that we don't see much today anymore on radios. But still a good radio. Still one of my holiday favorites. So we're going to call it like that. So it is what I use as a portable. If it's, something that I don't want to, that I'm using at home mostly. The H-501X is pretty much always the one that I use. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.